Welcome to the Driven Moms Answering Adversity interview series, Stories of Success Through Setbacks from Mom Elevated. Together, we can shine a light on how normal challenges and struggles are, along with how we can overcome and rise above them. Today, we have Kristy to share her story with us. I'm super excited to dive into this one. So, Kristy, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to just give us a little brief overview of you and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. I am excited.
I,
Um, and I'm a mom of two daughters, pretty much a generation apart. My oldest is 25 and my youngest is 10.
oh,
And in the last 6 weeks, I just became a grandma as well. So lots of things
congratulations.
happening. Yeah, so all that stuff. However, I am a kitchen confidence coach. And what that means is I have the awesome job where I get to help women support them in the kitchen as they learn to move away from the diet culture and use whole food, not only for themselves, but to change the trajectory of their family. And as I have been doing that over, the past 20 years myself, I now have a new generation to do that with. So if you can't tell, I am even more excited than ever.
That's amazing, right? I would be too. I can, but I can't wait for that moment. I think it's just
Yeah.
a different excitement, a different type of love that you get to now share.
It is entirely different. And the other thing is he's a boy. So I have like zero experience with boys. So this is kind of fun for me too, because, just kind of get to do it all. So yeah, we call myself Gigi. So I'm in my Gigi era where I get to just love on him, but also to my daughters are my why for my business, and also just for me continuing to do what I do. So it's fun.
That's fun and beautiful. I love that so much. What do you think is like the biggest or most challenging moment that you came across during this journey? What adversity or biggest adversity have you answered and how along along that? That
That's
is a
like a
big
great
span
question.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that's an awesome question. I absolutely love it. Um, I have to say, I think the biggest like obstacle adversity that I've come across is myself. Like, and I continue to do like it continues to kind of haunt me and come up, but as I get to different points in my business and in my own health journey, that's what I've really noticed over the past like 3 months probably, is just how things have shifted with me, and also to like I'm the one that stands in my way. It's nobody else. It's me. It's just me when I strip everything off and all the excuses, and just come right back to it. It is me.
I love that. And it's true. And it's like different phases too, because that's what I
Yes.
always say, it's the biggest personal development journey that you'll ever go on, because you have to improve and grow and be willing
Yeah.
and open to those things, which
Yeah.
can be really difficult. I'm a decade into my business, and I'd say just from beginning to now, I'm a hard head. I'm a hothead. Used to be. I'm a lot better than right? And so you realize all of these factors that you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I need to be receptive, and
Mm,
I don't know it all. I knew I didn't know it all, but it's a whole different thing when you're faced with it and you're like, wait a
yeah.
second, okay, I need to be able to shift at the
Yeah.
drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating.
And I think like not only be able to shift, but like allow yourself that space to pivot, because like you said, like I'm very stubborn. I like to be right. I like to be the one that's in control. That's probably one of my like, biggest things. But when I realize that things aren't working, or even like with the women that I work with, like, okay, now we're moving into like a new space, right? And what does that mean? And how can I serve them best? Well, me, like 6 months ago, now, we're moving, we're like shifting in a different direction. So I think, and I like the word that you used in receive, because I've actually started to use that word a lot. Like when something comes to me, whether it be a new person in my life, a new client, a new customer, or even just something that I find that brings me joy, I have been working on it. It's not as automatic as I would like it to be, but I've been working on saying, I receive this into my life.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Because, right? And then it opens up a whole new realm of like gratitude and appreciation. And that that was brought to you for a certain reason. And then it's your choice, right, on how you want to use that in your life, in your business, however that works. So I've been working on using that word a lot more, so that I can be present and also to be grateful for what I'm given, because we take that a lot for granted.
We do. I do love that. And coming from a place of gratitude, and I really do love that phrase. I am receiving. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like you can also give in a different way when you're open to receiving, because again, you're learning, you're growing, and then you're taking what
Mhm.
you've learned and you're like, hey, you know what? I used to be like that too, but this is what seems to be better.
Yeah.
Maybe give it a try. And I feel
Yeah.
like you are almost gentler in your approach
Mm.
to getting other people on board, is what I've kind of noticed along the way in that kind of space.
Yeah, I love that. Gentler, and also to you're more observant
Mm.
about things maybe that they don't see.
Yeah.
And you're able to bring that to light for them, which I think is really important for women, because we are so often so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
And we're not doing good enough, and we're not doing this, and we're not doing that. But when you have somebody on the outside who can be like, yeah, but like, look at what you just did, or, this is 100% amazing. Sometimes just hearing that as well is like, oh, you know what? Yeah, actually, I am. I am making progress. I am doing what I need to be doing. So I think that's helpful too.
I do love that. Oh, that's wonderful. What a breakthrough. So, kind of on a similar note, what do you think it is then about entrepreneurs that makes
Mm.
us continue on when things get challenging without giving up when it gets tough and we're like, we're going to take this on. We are going to go through all of those hard times. We are going to go through the growth. What do you think it is?
Well, I mean, so for me, one of the things that I've done is I've like in those hard times, because I think as entrepreneurs, right? It's like every other week we're like, no, this is too hard. I'm not going to do this. And then we're like, wait a minute, like, let's look back. So for me, what I've done is I've looked back at all of the hard things that I have done already. Right. And then I say, okay, Kristy, if you can do that, then you can do this. And I've learned how to, instead of doing the whole picture, like that everything's up here, to break it down into little bite-sized pieces. And what can I do today that is going to move me forward? And I use a lot of my own personal health journey in that, because of everything that I've gone through, and also teaching my clients. And that's one of the things that I ask is like, okay, what can you do today that's going to move you closer to your goals? And so for me, same thing. Okay, Kristy, what can you do today that is going to move you closer? And then tomorrow, what's the next thing? Because I think we forget, and I'm saying this out loud, so hopefully I will remember this as well. But like our steps, our baby steps are just as important as our big ones, because those baby steps bring us to those big moments,
Yeah.
right? Whether it be entrepreneurship, mom, just like in our personal health journey, like we can really adapt that to whatever season of life we're in, or what we want to do as well. And just remember that our steps count, no matter how small they are.
I love that. Also, I noticed that you said bite-sized pieces, which works really well with your brand, but just saying and what you do. Pretty
Oh, I like that.
bite-sized.
Yeah, actually, I never thought about that.
That's perfect. But no, I think that is true. And not only does it give you those little, like, it makes it easier to achieve those little things, but it gives you that, like, each step of motivation where you're like, oh, I did achieve this. I did achieve this. So it gives you that,
Yes.
like, internal almost validation of, okay, I got one step closer. Okay, I can do it. Those little moments of
Yeah,
celebration that are so important, because it can
they're
be so
huge.
defeating so often. So
I
I'm,
actually, yeah, and I had a business coach who told me, like, I think I was in tears one time and she told me this, but she was like, Kristy, do you have clients that are successful and that are, things are happening for them? And I'm like, well, yeah, I do. And they're like, she's like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, well, because they're telling me, right? Like either in like a video call like this that we have, or whether it's in emails or text messages. And she's like, take a snapshot of those, make a folder on your phone. And every time you are feeling like you are feeling now, I want you to go back to that folder and look at all of the accolades, look at everything that you are helping these women do because you really are changing lives. And that is something that I have done. And with each milestone in my journey, I have started to do that. And I've made, an album in my phone that I can go back to and I can reflect on. And again, like that's something that we can do in secret, right? Or in quiet. Like if we're in our office and we're like, oh my God, well, why am I doing this? Like this just is not, nothing's coming of it. And then we flip open to that album that we've created of all of the amazing things that we are doing. We don't need outside verification, right?
yep.
Because we can see it for ourselves exactly what is happening. So um that is something that I share often too, is just like that's our own little piece of what we're doing. And the more that we can do that and add to that album, it's like we're just kind of like, yep, everything's okay. We're doing
I
fine.
love That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I've seen so many different little ways that people do things like that. And I think
Mhm.
just that is a commonality that I think is so vital and so important, is finding something that works for you, that is for you, so that you can go
Mhm.
back and see the impact you're making.
Yeah.
Whether it be sticky notes on the wall of current clients that you're working with or past clients that you've worked with, whether it is a sticky
Yeah.
note on somewhere else or even just a note jotted down of the people that you want to work with, that you know, that I think it's really
Yeah.
important to just have those little, I don't even know what to call it,
It's
inspiration of what you've done and
yeah.
how you've changed and impacted people.
Yeah. I love that because we do change as our business grows, right? There are different things that we are changing. And even with the people that we're working with, we probably look back and we're like, oh, I forgot I worked with them, right? And like, look where they are now. Like I have some women that I've been working with for 2 or 3 years, and where I started with them is like, they're like miles ahead of where they ever thought that they would be. And even for me to be able to go back and like, do you remember when? And they were like, oh my gosh, yeah. So like that for them too, right? Is just something for them to see the growth. And I think that's important as entrepreneurs, is as we continue to grow, we share with the people that we have impacted. We share their journeys with them too, because that's how community is built.
Yeah.
And that's how, it, again, especially as women, right? Then we feel like we're connected. We feel like we're part of something, and it's our village. And we continue to grow that way and bring along that village. So I just think it's kind of cool.
I agree. I think that's a beautiful, and I think that's kind of unique to women too, is like we really
Mhm.
do love that camaraderie and being able to like help lift other people up in that sense,
Yeah.
and find that, I don't know. I really like finding common ground with others, so I love seeing other stories that I can relate to and be like, yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Or
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. I'm going to try that next time.
Yes.
It's a whole perspective shift.
Yeah.
And one thing I started doing, because I make big goals and I don't always hit them.
I know.
So, keeping it in perspective and just reflecting back on even the previous year of where I was and where I am now, and being like, oh no, I'm still leaps and bounds ahead of where I was. I just didn't hit that big overarching goal that I thought. I mean, it was a big, hairy, scary goal. So obviously, like, maybe it just wasn't in the cards right now. But still seeing that
Yeah.
perspective of growth and changes is so impactful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. So what do you think is the biggest takeaway or lesson that other mompreneurs can use specifically from your experience?
Mm. Well, um, I think well, first of all, we have to give ourselves grace. Like grace is huge. We have to give ourselves grace. However, we can't lean too much on grace and being like, I'm giving myself grace, but keep like, right, keep that as like, well, that's why I'm not moving forward, is because I'm giving myself grace. So like there has to be some tough love in there for ourselves. But also to remember there's a season for every business. There's a season for every life as well. And I think mompreneurs, like, that's one of the hardest things, because we are, even though we're working at home, most of us, right? Maybe like a side hustle, or, like, in between all of our kids' activities, like that can be one of the hardest things because we have so many things going around us. So be aware of the season that you're in, and know that that season isn't going to last forever, and you will have the opportunity to do, all of those things that maybe you don't have to right now. But what is that, like, 1, 2, or 3 things that you can really focus on right now in this season? And then where will that take you?
Oh, I love that. And then
Yeah,
if you happen to be in a good space where you do complete one and then you find yourself completing two or three, you can add on it, but you don't have
100%.
to.
Yeah.
You can just let that be. Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that. Seasons change and seasons come and go. So
They
absolutely.
do. They do. And it's not, yeah, like it's not forever, right? You're not going to be in this place forever, which is exciting too, because then we know some, like, what's around the corner, right? So we don't just stop and and wait. We can, but yeah, what's around the corner? What season is next? What will this bring me? I think there's always to that anticipation. So if we're working and we're taking action, then we're ready for that next season when it comes, and we're not just like then blindsided by it either. I think
Yeah.
that's,
Prepare
yeah,
a little. Yeah, I think that's
a little
beautiful.
bit.
And what a great
Yeah.
analogy too, because if you think about it, like sometimes it's winter, it's gonna be barren, it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be feeling like you don't know where you're going. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's gonna be spring and things are blossoming and you got all these ideas and oh, I think that's great. And fall where you're shedding some of those ideas, right? Like that's such a great
Yeah. And
analogy.
like, yeah, I love it. I love it. And if you think of it that way too, then you're not like kind of just stuck in this, like, oh no, like this is it, right? Then we're like,
Yeah,
something new is coming. I just, like, what can I do to kind of like get myself there?
right.
You
Spring
know,
cleaning or what are we doing next? Yeah, yeah. I
exactly.
think that's great. Well, so with that, thank you, Kristy. I think this has been so fun. What is
Yeah.
the best way for others to find you if they'd like to work with you, learn more, soak up your goodness, be in your space, learn more about what you do with, and remind me what exactly it is that your title is. I know it's with food and cooking and whole foods but
Yep.
tell me a little bit more
So
and then tell us where to find you. I'll have the description too, but
yeah, so I am a certified health and wellness coach. That's the kind of overall. And then as I realized, my background is in teaching. I actually have my bachelor's in elementary education. And I was, prior to becoming a health and wellness coach, I was 15 plus years in the childcare industry as a director of daycares. So I have like my passion is for families, my passion is for teaching. And so what I realized after I got my certification was that, you know what, I still love to teach, and I still love that hands-on, that visual, like, me like explaining and getting excited about things like in front of people. And so I started teaching virtual meal prep classes, virtual cooking classes. And so then I decided I'm going to call myself a kitchen confidence coach, because when you are confident in the kitchen with the food that you are eating, you can be confident in so many other areas of your life, because you feel good, you have energy, you are ready for the day, and you feel like you're empowered. And so that's really kind of where the kitchen confidence coach title came in, was because it really starts in the kitchen, and then that can take you to so many areas of your life. So that's what I call myself. I call myself kitchen confidence coach.
Love
And it's Kristy with a K, and then and my brand, my business is called Klean Eating with Kristy. So clean is with a K as well. And the best place to find me is on Instagram. That's kind of where I hang out, and you'll see lots of personal meals that I'm making, personal stories with with the kids and my animals in my house and all the things. And my website is currently, as we're recording this right now, is under construction. So I'm making some changes. But it's the same as Instagram. It's cleaneatingwithkristy.com. And so Clean Eating with Kristy on Instagram too is the best place to find me. And feel free to message me. I love to get messages. I love to be in conversations about food, vegetables in particular, because those are my jam. And families and eating and all the good things.
I might have to jump into your DMs. My kids, I love vegetables, but my kids do not, or they each like a different one, and so getting
Yeah.
them to try it, I may need to have some ideas.
Come on over. And so my 10-year-old also teaches cooking classes as well for kids,
No.
because one of the things that I found was kids are a lot more receptive to peers
Yeah.
rather than having a mom, right, tell them what to eat. So
Yeah.
her and I, we with my guidance, she teaches cooking classes in a fun way for kids, healthy recipes, and she does them together. So definitely a family business that we have here, but
I
all
love it.
about
My
food.
son works for me too, so I love that. I think that's
Yep.
fantastic. And they have so much fun. And it teaches
They,
them that they can really do what they want to do.
yes, there's so much possibility. And I think that's really important. I think I was so hesitant at the beginning with bringing her in, and my husband owns his own business too, and I was like, wait a minute, like she's literally seeing us do these things, so why not? And it's really been a fun process for her, and for us to do it together. So yeah, bring the kids in all the
Talk
time. And
about confidence. Whew, what a way
well,
to
and you know what, it took her a while, it really took her a while, but that's also too one of my main messages and pillars as a in my business is your kids belong in the kitchen. You are teaching them life skills. You are teaching them survival skills that they're going to need. And if you're not cooking in the kitchen, who are they going to learn it from?
Yeah.
Right. So it goes together. So yeah, you'll see her. She's got her stuff on my page too, so that we can monitor that. But yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to follow, so I know everybody else is going to as well. No. I think that's fantastic. Well,
Can't
thank
wait.
you so much for joining us today, Kristy. This has been seriously so much fun and insightful, and I think it was a really great conversation. So many important things. I feel like I had a lot of light bulbs going off. So, I mean, yeah, I
Awesome.
appreciate you for joining and sharing so much.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I love it.
Thank you. And as always, your story is inspirational and your willingness to be open about it is very much appreciated and needed in this space. For those of you out there facing your own adversity, know that you're not alone. That's the whole point of what we're doing, is to know that you're not alone. You have other people to tap into. There are other people going through exactly what you're going through. And we have ideas, we have things, or we just have support, either way. But when you need an extra hand or a mind for brainstorming during your mompreneur journey, we would love to work with you through the Mom Elevated Society. That's a tongue twister today. You'll find monthly check-ins for goal setting and assessing, and so much more for both your business and your mom life. We actually just combined and have the Gift Yourself Grace program actually in the society now too as well. So that's a lot of fun. But until next time, keep shooting for the stars. Bye.